The government has now been shut down for the longest time in our 249th history of the Republic, except on one earlier occasion. So who's responsible? How's it going to end? What's going to happen? Ostensibly, government shutdowns occur when the out party has lost power in the House and the Senate, or at least they can't push through an agenda. So they feel that the only leverage they have, usually when they've lost the presidency and control of the Congress, is to not approve, and basically by that is not approve of any bills, that is go on a filibuster is what's a word for it. In this case, the Republicans do not have 60 votes in the Senate to override their refusal to vote on the budget, so to speak. Why are they doing this? Why are the Democrats shutting down the government when we have a history of these shutdowns? And if you go back and look at them, usually one thing happens, that is initially the party that's in the minority and has shut down the government says, well, they won't speak to us, or they don't want to negotiate, or they're spending too much money, and this is the only recourse we have. And that is a believable message, a persuasive message for a few days, but then certain things kick in, such as I didn't get my Social Security check, I didn't get my paycheck, the air traffic control system is slowing my flights down, and the system slowly starts to grind down. And at that magic point, people say, well, wait a minute. We had an election, you guys, whether Republicans or Democrats, lost. And now you're kind of poor losers, and you're saying you're losing in chess, so you want to overthrow the board and say, I'm going to shut it all down. And then public opinion starts to go against the people who shut down. I think we're at that point now where the Democrats are seeing a diminishing return on their investment of shutting the government down. Why did they do this? The historian Thucydides said for most disagreements, there is the pretext, the prophasis, and then there's the real cause, the idea. They say that they're shutting the government down because when they passed the Obamacare program, the Affordable Care Act, which remember was supposed to reduce everybody's health care. And, there's only about 25 million people now who are in need of these subsidies on Obamacare. Most people still get their private insurance, or they're on Medicare, or they're on Medicaid. But when this program did not prove to be affordable, as everybody predicted it wouldn't, when you bring a lot of people into the system that can't pay for it, and you require put these rules and regulations on the medical profession, something has to give, and that gift was cost. So then the Democrats came back and said, we need subsidies, and the Republicans said, well, you said it was going to be cheaper. Why would you need government multi-billion, hundreds of billion-dollar subsidies? And so they said, well, we'll put a time limit on it. Well, that time limit expired, or will expire, and they knew that, and they signed on to get us this far into the year by agreeing not to shut down. So now they say the official reason is the Republicans are not going to extend a subsidy for the affordable health care. The Republicans said it should be called the non-affordable health care. We told you it wouldn't work. Why do this? Let's rewrite the whole thing or get... So that's the pretext, but there's two other reasons. One, in the general chaos of things, they think that it hurts the end party, in particular Donald Trump. In other words, they look at Trump and they say he's reduced crime. There is no such thing as illegal immigration anymore. He's addressing illegal aliens that are criminals, 500,000. He's pursuing them. He's deported many, many thousands of criminals. There's been 7 or 8 ceasefires abroad. He may bring peace to the Middle East. He's restored the military's shortfall in recruitment. There's 50,000. So we don't really have an answer to him. But if we create chaos, if we fill the streets full of protesters, if we get violent, if we make everybody upset and not calm, and we think we're going to go into the public, the voter will go into a fetal position, say, make it all go away. In other words, shut down the government, cause general turmoil, maybe even lead us to a recession, and they will blame Trump. Trump did it, Trump did it, Trump did it. That's one reason. The other real reason that they're not telling us is that the Democratic Party is in a doom loop. In other words, on all of these main issues, defund the police, open borders, illegal immigration, the trans sports issue, what we saw abroad, pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas versus Israel. They're on the losing side. And they do not have a charismatic Bill Clinton or Barack Obama to carry them through in a nationwide referendum on these unpopular votes. So they don't have the leadership and they don't have the votes. And so they're looking for something to do, as I said, to cause chaos. But more importantly, they have a reason why they don't have charismatic leaders, and they have a reason why they're unpopular, and that is the party has passed the establishment by. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all of them are ossified, calcified dinosaurs. And a young group of Mondanis are running on issues that, while they may be popular in a particular jurisdiction or an East Coast liberal city, they have no resonance nationwide. And they will be running for office in the midterms. They're going to be challenging incumbents like Chuck Schumer. And they can win in this neo-socialist, DEI, far-left, Green New Deal constituency. But the old guard is saying they will lose in a general election, just like McGovern did, and they will take us down for 20 years.
In this video, Victor Davis Hanson dives into the true motives behind the government shutdown, exposing it as more than just a political disagreement. It's a strategic move rooted in chaos and power. What I take from his analysis is how cyclical and predictable these shutdowns have become. The minority party claims principle, but eventually it's all about optics and leverage. Hanson makes a compelling case that the Democrats' actions go beyond budget disputes. They aim to create instability, weaken public trust, and redirect blame toward Donald Trump. Personally, I find his argument persuasive because it captures a deeper truth about modern politics. It's no longer about governing, but about narrative control. When parties prioritize spectacle over solutions, citizens become pawns in a psychological war for perception. Hanson's reflection on the internal decay of party leadership, old elites clashing with radical newcomers, also highlights a broader identity crisis within American politics. Watching this, I couldn't help but feel that what's breaking down isn't just government functionality, but the very sense of shared purpose that once held institutions together. Ultimately, the shutdown becomes a mirror of a divided society, where chaos itself is used as a political weapon.